those pieces around technology, automation, intelligence, these things seem to really go hand in hand with what we're seeing on those left-hand side around how we're doing the operating model, how we bring together some of these pieces to not do duplication, how do we utilize the right type of risk intelligence or the right type of mapping, even to do things like obliged entities, roll down into the product sets. These are going to become particular tools and levels to actually sit there and pull and trigger how you gain an outcomes-based outcome, i.e. you're going towards the effectiveness side of what the regulators are asking for, what AMLA is asking for, what FATF is asking for, what the Wolfsburg Group are even pushing out there. But you're going to have to be able to marry that with some level of technology spend to optimize how you're overall going to achieve that. And I think that's some of the key things that are a takeaway here. You heard a little bit of that when we talked about the RTSs. It is going to be a consistent theme this year, next year, and perhaps even the year after, as we continue to see a lot more things coming together in order to drive better use and better effectiveness outcomes at the end of the day. But we've got a couple of other sections to get through today as well, and I can see some of the questions actually coming through in the Q&A feature, so please add your questions into the Q&A. But our next topic that I want to move through to is really about how do you start preparing now for what's happening in 2027. And the first one is really around, I'm going to go on that same thing that we just talked about, tech and data. What do you need to do to be ready in that particular context? And what do you need to go beyond what we'll call maybe the traditional AML process? I want to take you through those top three boxes here because they're all kind of interlinked. They do sit there and link back to what I just said around technology, automation, utilizing the right type of innovation like AI, and even down to the risk intelligence. And we call that really tech modernization. I think some of the banking institutions, the insurance companies out there might have a slight leg up on other types of DNFPBs out there because they have had a lot more practice of doing these things along the regulatory lines that is expected by regulatory authorities like AMLA. But there is going to still be a heavy lift to sit there and pull some of that up to modernize in order to utilize your systems, your people, your data, and your technology in the best way possible. The second one I want to draw your attention to is very much focused on CDD. And if you go back to what we spoke about before on Article 28 and Article 19, there's going to be this need to sort of unify this cross-border customer risk assessment. Now, I know we talked about the high, medium, and low and being able to pull in the right type of data points into here, but being able to pull all of this information and utilize it so that it is the most effective way of being able to utilize the information you know about a customer, the product, perhaps even the channel they're operating in. I see some questions coming through even on the chat at the moment that's around like I've got an obliged entity here that's going to have to do this particular product, but they are not got a parent company somewhere else to do this. This is where this type of concept starts coming on board, even from your enterprise-wide risk assessment now flowing down into your customer risk assessment level. These are going to be some of the key differentiators that we're going to need tech and data to help us get there.